And good morning, and good morning from all over the world. You are welcome again to this Friday Live. My name is Kunle Ologe, marriage counselor and founder of the Marriage Seal Academy. And I'm so excited to be here, just as I am every Friday like this. I'm excited because it's an opportunity again to sell something to you that will help your marriage. Because my job is to help marriages become better. And I'm so glad that all of you are here today. Welcome to you. Welcome to you. I hope you've invited friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, old schoolmates, church members, everybody that needs to be here. And who was the first? Oh, Chidima. Chidima, good morning, ma. How you doing? You are the first to be here, and I greet you this morning. And I see you, Cordelia. I see you, Chinyere. I see you, Daniel. How you doing, sir? Nice having you here. I see you, Mercy. Joy, Joy, how you doing? Rosita, how you doing? Mara, Chris, Reina, and a whole bunch all coming together. But just like we do it, if the marriages around you are bad, your marriage is at risk. So ensure that you invite everybody you know around you, everybody in your circle, invite them so that they too can be here and be sure that their marriages are top notch. It's good to have all of you here today. And today we're talking about this interesting topic: how to handle a spouse who keeps comparing you to others. How to handle a spouse who keeps comparing you to others. And yes, I can see you've invited over 25 people. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see all of you. I hear you. I see you. And I'm excited that you are able to make it today. So let's dive right in, right? Because we have just 1 hour to dive into this and make the best out of it. So let's dive right in and begin for the day. And yes, my beautiful yellow wife is also here with us. And I greet you, Ma. Happy to have you here and excited to have you here also. This is the woman that makes me tick. Yes, she's the woman that takes care of me for you guys. Yeah, so you have me because she's there. So good morning to you. All right, great. So let's dive in. This important topic. And you see, the truth of the matter is that as a marriage counselor, I hear people sometimes come to me to say, my wife is always comparing me with somebody else, her ex, her boss, her pastor. My husband is always comparing me with somebody else, his mother, his sister, his ex. And this can actually be very, very frustrating. Yeah, it can be very frustrating, extremely frustrating when you have become a second fiddle and somebody else is playing the first fiddle in the mind of your spouse. And your spouse is feeling, why can't you be like this person? And your spouse keeps saying it into your ears and it has weighed you down. So let's discuss it today to find out what exactly is really happening. Now, as usual, let's find out the reasons why this happened. Why do I always talk about the reasons why something is not going well? Because sometimes you may think it's for something else, and it may be another reason entirely. Sometimes you are upset with your spouse that your spouse is not doing something or is doing something wrong, and perhaps your spouse can't even help himself or herself. So, knowing the reason why something happens is too important. And I need you people to follow me as I go through this. Many of you are fighting battles that you're not supposed to fight. They're not supposed to be battles. You're supposed to be there helping your spouse to get through something, because that's your spouse who is doing or not doing what he's supposed to do. That your spouse is also fighting his own or her own battle. If you recognize this, you may need to empathize with that spouse instead of attacking that spouse. Again, I say, Some of you are fighting battles that you don't really need to fight. They are not supposed to be battles per se. They are supposed to be you challenging whatever it is that is hindering your spouse and not your spouse himself or herself. So, what are the reasons some spouses keep comparing their partners, spouses to somebody else? Number one, they don't feel heard but don't know how to ask. They don't feel heard but don't know how to ask. Now, this is so important. So, this is so important that you actually need to understand that the reason your spouse is comparing you may just be because he or she doesn't feel heard. Maybe this your spouse has said something before to you and you've not done anything about it, and your spouse doesn't know how to ask. So for many spouses, comparison is that lazy language. So they use it for unmet needs. So instead of saying, I need more support, they say things like, see how her husband helps her now. So it's because the spouse does not know how to ask you for help. So the spouse is trying to point you in the direction of somebody who is doing what he or she wants. That is one of the reasons that spouses keep comparing you to others. Now, this doesn't mean that this is healthy, but it just shows you that your spouse is kind of not mature enough in conversations. He or she has a deficiency in the emotional maturity to be able to give you those conversations like they should. Number two, why is your spouse always comparing you with others? The second reason your spouse may be comparing you with others is that they are carrying unspoken disappointment. They are carrying unspoken disappointment. So there was something that they were expecting as they came into marriage. They came into marriage with an expectation that their husband will behave this way, that their wife will behave this way. And then they get into the marriage and it is not so. So they get disappointed, and then their way of showing the disappointment is to compare you with somebody else. So you start saying, you start hearing things like, this is not what I hoped for. This is not what I wished for. What I wished for was how Michael actually treats his wife. What I wished for was how Mercy actually treats her husband. So sometimes the comparison is because of unmet expectations. So they are disappointed, and their disappointment is voiced out in comparison. Are we following right now? Is somebody getting what it is that I'm saying? Remember, I said at the beginning, it's good for you to know these reasons so that you don't overthink some of these things. You know, sometimes when some spouses come to me and say, oh, my husband did this because of A, B, B, C, I say, hold on. Can we analyze it first? Is it possible that he did it because of this? Is it possible that she did it because of that? And that's the only time that spouse that is complaining will actually sit down and say, oh, what you are saying actually makes sense. Some of the battles you are fighting are not necessary. Let me say it again in straight terms. You are hitting a door that you probably can get the key to. Do you get that? Do you get that analogy? So you have a door. It's locked. The easiest way to get through that door is to get the key, open it up, and walk through. However, some people are not patient enough to look for that key. So they keep banging the door and banging it. And yes, eventually you may break the door open and get into the place, but you now have a broken door. So you need to understand some of these reasons so that some of the fights you've been taking to your spouses are not necessary. You know, we started the couples conclave as usual in January of this year. Every year we start the couples conclave, and the couples conclave is our annual marriage rejuvenation and accountability program. So every year we start in January, end in November. And we started the couples conclave in January. Already, this is just 3 weeks that we've done the couples conclave. Already people are coming to say, my God, I've been fighting my husband for this. I never knew that this was the reason. I've been fighting my wife for this. Oh, I didn't know that I was actually thinking it wrong. So reduce your fight. Look for the knowledge. Look for the key to open the door. Someone should put it there in the comment section and say, look for the key to open the door. Don't break the door. Put it there in the comment section. Say, look for the key to open the door. Don't break the door. This is so important for you to understand, because the doors you are breaking down, you are going to start repairing them. And you know how a door is. You can break it down to repair it. You may never get it the same way again. So you've broken down enough doors. Stop and start looking for keys. Start looking for keys. Thank you for everybody who is putting it there. Yes. Look for the key to open the door. Don't break the door. You've broken too many doors. It's okay. Stop. Stop already. And that's why I keep asking people, have you ever spoken to a counselor about this? Then you hear things like, no, I have not. And then you've not spoken to a counselor and you've destroyed the doors, broken them all down. Please follow me carefully. And then if you've not invited people here, the people who are here have already invited 10 people. Everybody invite 10 people to come and listen to this. Because if the marriages around you are bad, your marriage is at risk. So ensure that everybody around you is hearing what you are hearing. Colleagues, right now you're at work, tell all your colleagues, tune in, even if you want to put an earpiece alone to just listen while you are doing your work. Do it, because it will help your marriage. The third reason that people compare their spouses to others is insecurity and low self-esteem. Insecurity and low self-esteem. Now, when somebody is naturally insecure, the person will naturally look for somebody else to blame for things so that he can become or she can become secure. So the problem is that they're comparing themselves internally. They are saying they're not meeting up to standard. Because of that, they are quickly trying to show you how you are not meeting up to standard so that they can feel okay. You know how it is when somebody is doing the wrong thing and you want to prove to everybody else that is the right thing so that you can feel good. Yes, that's one of the reasons that happens. That's one of the reasons that it happens. So insecurity and low self-worth can actually make your spouse compare you with others. Let's look at the fourth reason. The fourth reason is that people were raised to compare. People were raised to compare. So in some homes, the way that they grew in the home was to compare with somebody else, because they saw their parents always comparing brother to sister, sister to brother, brother to brother, sister to sister. Always saying, can't you read like your sister? Can't you do so well like your brother? Can't you cut that mango like your brother? Can't you? So it was something that was planted in them and it sits in their subconscious. And so it's just natural that when they see you doing the wrong thing, instead of them to just tell you, you are doing this wrong thing or you are not doing it well enough, they quickly look for somebody to compare you with. They quickly look for somebody to compare you with. So that's one of the reasons. So it becomes the normal motivation for that person. Unfortunately, this is actually very toxic to marriage. But you see, I've always said it, you can't divorce your past from your present. And what I mean by that, I don't mean you can't leave it alone. I mean your past is something that influences your presence. But if you are aware of this, then you can do something about it and modify that your present so that your past doesn't have that kind of power over the present again. So let's move on. The next one that we have is that they confuse inspiration with pressure. Some people genuinely are comparing you because they think that they are trying to inspire you to do something better. But in comparing you, unfortunately, they are only putting you under pressure to perform. So they compare you with somebody else, you are under pressure, so you perform. But you see, the problem in marriage, especially marriage, might be okay at a workplace. But when you use that tool in marriage, this comparison in marriage, because you want to actually inspire the person, when you use it in marriage, what you do is that you disconnect the person emotionally. When you disconnect the person emotionally, then the person is only performing, and the person is no longer having a partnership. So there's just performance, no partnership, no connection. And that is dangerous. So yes, that the person you are comparing the other person with, your spouse, might begin to do better in that thing, but the person is only doing that to perform so that you are happy. But you might just lose that connection with the person. You lose that connection with the person. And yes, Apostle Ifeanyi says this is what we see in the banking sector, which makes us behave like that in marriage. The emotional disconnection is very bad. Yes, so at the workplace, that can motivate you. But in marriage, it will motivate you, but it will destroy something. You know, at workplace, you mustn't be emotionally entwined to each other, so to say. So you can continue working without it. But in marriage, it's different. This is your spouse. And I greet you, Apostle Ifeanyi. Apostle Ifeanyi was in my office to see my wife and I all the way from the east. And we greet you. It was a nice time having you in person. I'm always happy when I meet conclavites in person. I've known Apostle Ifeanyi for some years now, but this was the first time I was meeting him this week, and it was an exciting time. Thank you very much for popping in. All right, so let's move on. Number six. Comparison is often used when somebody doesn't know how to give direct and respectful feedback. So that means they lack skills for healthy conflict. They lack skills for healthy conflicts. When they lack skills for healthy conflict, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. So you find out that it's easier to point at somebody else's life than to say, this is what I need from you. And this does not help in marriage. It doesn't. You see, there are some things we do in marriage that actually gradually erode. You won't even understand that this thing is being eroded. You won't know. But gradually, it's being eroded, and then you will just eventually find out at one point in time that it's not there again. That's the relationship. That's why it is important for you to get the skills you need in conflict resolution. In a marriage, you must build your conflict resolution skills. It is non-negotiable, because a conflict is simply a difference in opinions, which means you will always have conflict in marriage. You know, a conflict is not when you start boxing each other. Just when you just have different opinions, that's already a conflict. And if you don't know how to deal with conflicts, then you will begin to compare your spouse with somebody else instead of you to just sit down and say, this thing you did was wrong. This is very, very important. And I hope everybody is listening to me. I'll say it again. You must deal with conflicts, and so for you to do that, you must build your skills in conflict resolution. Don't shy away from it. These are skills my wife and I built even before we got married. We had a conflict resolution plan even before we got married. In fact, one of my 4 books coming out, and yes, I have 4 books that are coming out this year, in the month of March, I'm going to be launching 4 wonderful books. And one of them is actually titled Conflict Behind Closed Doors. Conflict Behind Closed Doors. Yeah, that's the book coming up there. And I hope that you are ready for it. It's coming out soon. So prepare for the launching of that book. It's coming out with 3 other books. Yes, it's coming out with the book Healing from Marital Hurt. Healing from Marital Hurt. And this one will deal with everything that has to do with you getting out of something that has happened. There has been infidelity, there has been pain, there has been hurt. And how do you heal from it? Many people are suffering from marital hurts, and they've not been able to heal from it for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. This book is going to help you step by step on how to heal. Then, of course, you have the conflict behind closed doors, and that's the one I was just talking about here. This book is a compendium of the ways and the steps you need to take to resolve conflicts completely in a marriage. So you have conflicts lingering. This book will give you the skills you need. You'll settle down, read this book, page to page. By the time you are done, I promise you, conflict resolution will be how it is in my marriage. In my marriage, we resolve conflicts in 5 minutes. What people take months doing, we do it in 5 minutes. We just sit down and we talk, because we have rules, we have our template for conflict resolution. So it just moves step, 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 and we're done. And then we move on with our lives. Life is short. And then you have this beautiful one. Whoa, creating a family finance empire. I've always wanted to write this book. I had a little, what I put in this book is an expanded version of what I put in my book, 3 Rivers of Marriage. So 3 Rivers of Marriage, I'm sure some of you got that book, talks about both communication. Talks about communication, finance, and sex in marriage. So now this book is a complete book on communication, just communication. A complete book on finance, just finance in marriage. How you can actually build a family finance empire, build an empire that you will transfer to your children, that they will transfer to their own children. I'm talking about wealth empire, wealth, not just any kind of empire, wealth empire, that your children don't even need to work again if they don't need to work, but they too, they need to build. You know how Abraham transferred to Isaac. Isaac built on it and transferred to Jacob. Jacob built on it and transferred to the children of Israel. That's what I'm talking about. So this book is going to do that for you. And then the final one is Marriage Stories 2. Marriage Stories 2. I'm sure some of you that have been listening to me last year, you read Marriage Story 1. Yes. So Marriage Story 1 was there last year, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. How many of you read Marriage Stories? Okay, just put it there if you read it. Marriage Stories was a blast, and it's just fictional stories of marriage. Very interesting. You would enjoy it, but you will also learn. So we have the sequel to it, Marriage Stories 2, coming out with even more stories. So all of these things are coming up, but this is the one that I'm even talking about here. Conflict behind closed door. You must learn how to resolve conflicts. It is very, very important. And for those of you wondering how are you going to get this book, don't worry, just follow us. Follow us, you have all the information that you need. And of course, you can reach out to the number that is scrolling on your screen. You get more information about that. And yes, we are waiting for the books. Yes. Very good. You're waiting for the book on sex. Some women said I should tell you, sir, don't worry, it will come up. But there's a course on sex. It's called Renewing the Marriage Bed. Renewing the Marriage Bed. It's a 2-module course, over 3 hours, that I was talking about sex, that important matter, sex in marriage. So you can get that course, Renewing the Marriage Bed, while you wait for me to write the book on sex. All right, great. And people are saying, can't wait, can't pay. Very interesting titles. Oh, yes. I can tell you for free. I'm the one that wrote them. So I can tell you that you will not put down any of them once you start reading. Once you start reading any of them, you can't put them down. You will continue to hold them, until you are done. All right. Good. Someone says, okay, deliverance course, Renewing the Marriage Bed. Yes, that course delivered many people from the things they are struggling with when it comes to sex in marriage. Some of you are here, you're listening to me. You are struggling. You are not enjoying it. But you've not been able to talk about it. Don't worry, come and take that course. Once you take that course, I promise you, your marriage bed will catch fire. All right, good. So let's move on. What are the other reasons? Why does your spouse like comparing you to others? The seventh reason is your spouse likes comparing you to others because of control. That is his way or her way of controlling you. Because it makes you feel like you are not enough. So that spouse, and this is an extreme case, that spouse puts you under by always comparing you to other people. Kind of telling you that you are replaceable. I don't need you. There are other people that are out there that can do your job. That is your spouse putting you down outrightly. So that one, your spouse is using it to control you. And that's a negative one, a very, very negative one. So these are some of the reasons that spouses, compare their spouses with other people. Now you know. And it is so important that you now know. You see, the truth of the matter is people who are secure, they ask you to change, ask you to do things better, ask you to improve. But people who are insecure, they compare. So in summary, it's actually a lot about security. So insecure people will keep comparing you. Secure people will just ask you and say, this thing, can you do it like this? Can you do that like that? So let's now find out what you need to do. What are those steps you need to take? The steps that you need to take to ensure that your spouse stops comparing you with other people. This is very, very important. And for us, before we go on that, before we enter that, let's take this break. And the break is not just for us to take a break. I actually want you to watch this video. Watch this video. Take your time. It's a video. It's a story. And I want you to watch it because the story will eventually lead you somewhere. So in the next 3 minutes plus, just watch this story. And when we're done, maybe we'll have a conversation about it.
That day you find each other is like no other in life. It brings up butterflies in the belly and you just know you have found your true love. Hello, pretty one. Will you marry me? Yes. I will. And so the altar calls and they answer. The lovebirds all dressed up in black and white, friends coming together in celebration of their love. The minister joins them and crosses them over. And the new family is happily born. Tears of joy and laughter. The home is joyful. Sparks of life everywhere as the couple begin to learn each other. It's a waterfall of dreams coming true. Everyone is full of life. But soon enough, the issues of life choke that beautiful dream. Everyone gets busy. The children come back to back. And the spouses forget their first love. What was once bubbling becomes a stiff bowl of eba. But hope is not lost. Fire can always be reignited, and it surely was. Where there's knowledge, there's light. And the light can transform marriages into an even more beautiful and joyous life. And life springs up again. It's like they just found each other anew. The laughter is back, and so is the joy. A new day has come. How much light do you have in your marriage? How much light have you received on your journey in the same marriage? Register for the course, Closing Up Emotional Distance in Marriage, and learn what you need to do to ensure that the emotional intimacy in your marriage grows and blossoms.
My name is Kunle, marriage counselor and founder of the Marriage Seal Academy. I will be facilitating this course. See you there. And we are back. Welcome back. How many of you watched that video? I promised you it was going to be an interesting video, right? Okay, I'm happy that you watched it. And that video is from the stables of the Marriage Seal Academy. And yes, I heard some of you say, talking about drama. And yeah, if you've never attended our Marriage Stories drama night, then you are missing so much. Some of you have attended it since we started. Every December, we have our Marriage Stories drama night where we have a play on marriage, and yours truly always acts in it. Yes, 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 every time. But back to that story. Did you see that story? That story is actually a reflection of many people. Did you see yourself in that story? Your marriage started, it was so beautiful. But when the issues of life came, things now started getting, the emotional connection started drifting away. You lost that strength of love, that show of love. And if you do nothing about it, unfortunately, your marriage just begins to strain even more. You begin to pull apart. Because emotional connection in marriage is very, very important. It helps everything in marriage. Even this comparison we're talking about, do you know that if you have very good emotional connection, your spouse won't have reason to compare you? Your spouse will actually have the courage to tell you that this is what I need you to do. But when that emotional connection is not there, there is detachment. Detachment. So it is very, very important that you fix your emotional connection. And unfortunately, in many marriages, this emotional connection has already broken off. You don't know. You are assuming that everything is okay because your wife has just kept quiet or because your husband has just kept quiet. But things are actually getting spoiled. You want to test it? Go home today and ask your husband, are we emotionally connected like we were at the beginning? Ask your wife the same question. The answer will shock you. You've never sat down to have the conversation. And that's why people don't really sit down to have deep heart-to-heart conversations with each other in marriage. You need to sit down from time to time to have these heart-to-heart conversations with your spouse and say, honey, darling, sweetheart, whatever it is you call your spouse, are we as connected as we were when we got married? Because you may think you are connected. Your spouse is gone. Your spouse is just there by duty, but already gone. So you must connect emotionally to your spouse. And this is why we have this course coming up, Closing Emotional Distance in Marriage. This course is coming up in February. I want to appeal to every single person, not just as long as you can hear me right now. Make sure you and your spouse register for this course. For some of you, you already know that there's an emotional distance. So this thing that I'm saying, you know it. This is your opportunity now to draw your spouse, whether it's your husband or your wife, to say, you know what, can we just come and beef up our connection? So this course is not about you knowing that you have. You may not even know you have. I promise you, when we start the course, I'll be showing you how you can see that you actually have some disconnect in your emotional intimacy. This happens a lot. That's why sometimes when people come to me for counseling and I start asking them stories, they've even forgotten how they started. They've even forgotten that they used to do some nice things to each other. By the time they come, all they can remember is the bad things. But there was a time when you had nice things. So please, I beg you, I appeal to you, register for this course. Right now, the course has the early bird fee tag of just 12,000. The cost is 20,000 naira. But right now, before 31st of this month, you can pay 12,000, and that's per couple. That's per couple. So you can pay your 12,000 naira and get registered for the course. But after now, if you wait for February, beginning of February, it moves to 15,000, and once it gets close to the date, it moves to the original 20,000. So you don't need to wait for all that. Save your 8,000 now and register with 12,000 naira. Register yourself, register your the people you know if you can pay for them. 12,000 is neither here nor there. So register for as many couples as you can. There are some young couples you see in church that have taken you as their models, as their mentors. Register for them and encourage people to register on their own also, so that you can start building back the emotional connection. This is very important. I say it again. Many people have lost emotional connection and they don't even know. They don't even know. They don't even know. Someone says, Coach, you're right. I'm aware of the distance, but what do I do if my husband is not willing to even make effort? I'm tired of doing it alone because there's no point. That's why you need to come to the course, because I'm going to be teaching, even if it's only one spouse that comes to the course, don't worry, come. I'm going to be teaching you the things you can do to spark it up again. There are things for you to do. We're going to have a nice time. It's a 2-day course, 20th to 21st February. So we're going to sit down. It's not going to be like Friday Live. We're going to sit down, take time and discuss these things, and you'll be able to ask questions. That's even more important. It's an opportunity for you to ask as many questions as you can, so that you can now go back. Even if it's only you that comes, you can go back, implement the things, and you will see change. You will definitely see change. So I'm telling you to please ensure you don't miss this course. It's a course, the year is just starting, so that's a beautiful way of starting the year. Imagine if you can rebuild your emotional connection at the start of the year now, then imagine how the rest of the year will be. So you might have complained that last year, you didn't see your husband, you didn't see your wife. And when I say see, I'm not talking about physical seeing. So maybe you saw them physically, but there was no connection. You people were just living like two people co-parenting. Now, why don't you start the year on fire? Start the year with the spark that you need, so that the rest of the year can be on fire in truth. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. So we've made this provision for you to be able to pull yourself out of that quagmire. Stop deceiving yourself and saying, well, my marriage is okay. Then you are crying in your closet and you are saying, oh, and that's one of the reasons you're even comparing your spouse. In your mind, you may not, this comparison we're saying, perhaps you've never compared your spouse verbally, but in your heart, you've been comparing your spouse. How I wish my husband is like that man. My wife, if only my wife can be like that woman. You've been doing it in your heart. So it means that there is something wrong. Please, can we stop sitting on marriages that have issues and behave as if all is well? Stop it. You are not helping yourself, because there are solutions. There's a difference if there's no solution, but there are solutions. Somebody came to me recently and said, you know what, I don't even know what to do, and I don't think I want to do anything anymore. I just want you, coach, to tell me how I can live my life when I have gotten divorced. I said, unfortunately, I'm not a divorce lawyer. What I do is bring families together. I don't separate them. I said, okay, can we have a conversation? This was during counseling. Do you know, when we were done with that session, her mind was completely changed, because she saw hope. She saw possibilities. She saw that there could be a future. She saw that there were many things that she did not do that she thought she had done. There are many things she thought, oh, I've handled this, I've tried this, but I showed her so many things that she never even knew she could try. And so she left that session so excited that, wow, so now I'm not. So many of you have been thinking of how to run away from your marriage instead of thinking of how to repair the marriage. Let me quickly say this to somebody. Running away from your marriage does not solve anything. Because if you run away from this marriage and go into another marriage, you will meet another problem in that marriage. And once you have started running, you will keep running. Ask people who have gotten divorced before. They find it easy to get divorced again and again. Because once you have started running, you will keep running. But there are things for you to do. So ensure that you register for this course. This is very important. I can see people already saying, I'll be registering for it. If you are going to register for the course, help yourself by saying it here. Okay? So that it will motivate you. So say it. I am going to register for this course. Put it there in the comment section if you are going to register for this course. Put it there. Say, I am going to register for this course. If you've already registered, put it in the comment section and say, I have already registered for this course. I can see people already saying that I'm eagerly waiting. I'm eagerly waiting. Good. So please, please, and please make sure you register. So Brenda says, good enough, my spouse is game to us taking this course. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'm seeing people saying we're attending. I have registered. I have registered. Oh, beautiful. I have registered. Aha, I have registered. Beautiful. Yes, once you keep running, you will continue running. I'm going to register. Beautiful. I'm registering. Beautiful. I have already registered. That's it. That's it. So stop running away from your problems. Face them head on. Now, let us conclude today's Friday Live. And we're going to now be talking about steps to take to stop this comparison. How do you stop your spouse? Okay. How do you stop this whole comparison thing? Number one, understand what comparison is really saying. Understand what comparison is really saying. What do we mean by this? This comparison that your spouse is doing, your spouse is actually passing a message. So as much as the comparison is not something I encourage, but instead of fighting it or just getting angry, actually understand what exactly your spouse is trying to say and address it. I've said this before to many people. Even if your spouse is complaining about something the wrong way, that does not mean you should ignore what your spouse is complaining about. I don't know how to put this in a short way so that you can. Even if your spouse is complaining the wrong way, that doesn't mean you should ignore what your spouse is complaining about. If somebody, where are my scribes? If you can put it up there the way I have said it so that people can see it. Because some of you are so focused on, oh, he shouted when he was saying it. Oh, she hissed when she was saying it. Oh, she looked at me up and down when she was saying it. I know that your spouse did all of those things and those things were wrong. Wrong attitude in trying to bring up their point. But can you also look beyond the attitude or the way it was said and look at what was said? Because every time you face just the attitude, you miss what your spouse is trying to say. And even if you quail the attitude and get your spouse to stop shouting or stop doing that, the message is still hanging. Did you hear what I said? The message is still hanging. So please try as much as possible to focus on what the comparison is really saying. Because when your spouse is saying, why can't you be like my friend's husband? Your spouse may just be saying, I feel unsupported here and I don't know how to ask for it. When you are done addressing what the real issue is, you can come back and tell your spouse, but next time you didn't need to compare. You could have just told me directly. And then your spouse will have the confidence to know that, okay, my husband or my wife is ready for this kind of feedback. That's one of the things that you need to do. The next thing you need to do is refuse to compete in a marriage you already belong to. Refuse to compete in a marriage that you already belong to. You're already inside the marriage. So this competition that your spouse is bringing, don't compete. Don't feel insecure yourself. If your spouse is feeling insecure, don't let him or her now make you feel insecure. So for that, you need to be able to put some boundaries. You need to be able to say something like, I'm willing to grow, but I will not be compared to others. Let us face the things that you need me to do instead of the people that you need me to be like. Many times, this problem stems why you will start competing is because you don't know how to communicate. And you've heard me saying it time without number. There are three major issues in marriage. The first one is communication, the second one is finance, the third one is sex. And the most important of all these three is communication. So if your communication in marriage is poor, you won't even be able to have the conversation with your husband or your wife to say, you know what, I'm willing to grow, but you don't need to compare me with somebody else. Because the way you will say itself will cause more fight. You will bring it as war. Your voice will raise. You will give your spouse the dead eye. You know the dead eye when you look at your spouse like I'm going to kill you. But if you know how to communicate, you will be able to pass your message very decently, that your spouse will not have reason to say the way you're even passing this feedback to me is wrong. So two wrongs will now not make a right. Two wrongs will not make a right. Thank you, Chidima. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if your spouse is complaining the wrong way, that doesn't mean you should ignore what your spouse is talking about. Thank you so much for scripting that out for me, Chidima. So back to what I'm saying, please, for some of you, your problem is that you don't know how to communicate. That you can talk to me does not mean you're a good communicator. Your communication may be ineffective, very poor. Last year, I launched the book, What Your Spouse Is Not Telling You. That book is on communication. I hope those of you who were there last year, you got the book. And if you didn't get the book, please go and get this book, What Your Spouse Is Not Telling You. This book will change your life. It's a book on communication. Yes, that's what it is. The A to Z. It teaches you what to communicate, when to communicate, and how to communicate. This will help you to have very strong but decent conversations with your spouse. Okay, the next thing that we need to do, number 3, is separate feedback from disrespect. Separate feedback from disrespect. So, yes, in fact, that's what that statement is, this statement on the screen. So even if your spouse is complaining the wrong way, separate and say, okay, this thing is wrong the way you have said it. However, what is the core thing that you are saying? Then you ask questions. Are you trying to say, do you mean, so that even your spouse will know that there is a better way of saying that thing that he or she has said to you. Learn to separate the two, feedback and disrespect, so that you can focus on feedback and then show your spouse with skills and how you say it that you didn't need to say it like this. You could have just said it like this. Number 4, what do you need to do to stop comparison? Protect your identity before protecting your marriage. This may sound controversial, but listen to me very well. Some people have lost their identity because they are trying to protect the marriage. They've tried so much to protect the marriage, they've lost their identity. Unfortunately, the way they have tried to protect the marriage is not even still working. They think that by keeping quiet and not saying anything, that the marriage is protected. No, you are just heaping hot coal on your own head. And one day you will now explode. That's the problem. One day you will explode. And when you now explode, everything now falls down. All the cards fall down. So you need to protect your identity. So marriage was not meant to replace you. It was meant to refine you. So marriage is not supposed to replace who you are, your identity as a person. It's only meant to refine that your identity, because some of the identities were not refined. That's why they look like bad character. For instance, somebody that talks so much is not really bad though. But if you refine, that person will make a good lawyer or make a good person who can debate. And those kind of people can be on international stages, being able to debate things. So if you are taught how to manage your plenty talking, that's better than you somebody trying to silence you and say you are not supposed to talk as much. Who says? Same thing in marriage. Don't let that marriage replace you. Let it refine you. Put it there in the comment section. Don't let your marriage replace you. Let it refine you. Because even that your character that everybody is seeing as bad is because you are not refined. That character has its strength in it. Did somebody hear what I said? So make sure that when your spouse is comparing you again, you are able to tell your spouse again that, yes, I will work on myself, I'll get better, but I will not be compared to somebody else. Know how to say these things without fight. You're not shouting, you're not being disrespectful, you're just trying to tell your spouse, you see this thing you're asking me to do, I can do it and I'm willing to do it, but you don't have to compare me. Just tell me that this is what you need me to do. Simple and short. Okay, let's move on. Number 5, we're finishing now. Shift conversation from people to principles. So as your spouse is comparing you with somebody, forget that person. Don't mention the person's name. Just shift it and start saying, oh, are you saying that we should find financial stability in a better way? So focus, move his attention so that he starts seeing that there is some way to say this thing. I mustn't focus on a person. That person is living their own life. You people are living your own life. Yes, that person may be doing it better, but that person is also doing it based on a principle. So focus on that principle instead of on the person. I'm talking about you who they are comparing. So bring your spouse to the point. So instead of he earns more, you bring your spouse. When your spouse says that person is doing that, because he earns more, just say we value financial stability. So how do we build it together? Learn to bring conversations where you people can ignore to say people and focus on principles. Principles. Finally, number 6. Oh, not finally. Number 6, recognize when comparison becomes emotional abuse. Yes, sometimes this comparison is outright emotional abuse. We spoke about control being one of the reasons people compare. So when you start seeing it that this person is trying to use this thing to control me, to shut me down, to cut me out, you need to be able to stand up and tell the person that this is what you are doing to me. I didn't say fight. You see, when I say stand up, because somebody will leave here now and go and stand up too with chest. I'm standing up to you. That's not the stand up what I mean. Stand up just means don't lie on the floor and let somebody ride over you on the floor. Have your own sense of dignity to be able to also tell the person that what you are doing to me is actually emotionally harming me. I feel abused. You need to let your spouse know when you feel abused. Very, very important. And then, finally, seek professional help. Seek professional help. If you've tried all these things that I've said, and your spouse continues to compare you in a very painful way, then time has come for you to tell that your spouse, I think we need to go and sit with a counselor. Let this counselor listen to what is happening and advise us, because this is hampering our relationship. And if your spouse says, I'm not ready to see any counselor, you go and see if you have a problem. No problem. Come and sit down. There are many people who have come to me on their own without their spouses, and we have had a good conversation and their marriages have changed. So reach out and book a counseling session and let's have a conversation about it. And this is where we come to the end of today's Friday Live. And I hope that somebody learned something from it. Thank you for this, Rosita. Rosita says, seek professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness. That you can realize that you need help and ask for the help is strength, it's not weakness. Weakness is when you see you need help, but you can't ask for the help. So the problem pushes you and pushes you into the ground. Strength is when you can see a problem, you know you need help, and then you can reach out and say, hello, I need help. I need help. This will really change your life. So I hope you've picked something. If you have any question, quickly pop it into the comment section as we round up to class today. And how are you doing? Nkechi says, I love listening to Coach Kunle's teachings, honestly, and I love being here teaching you. It's always my privilege. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, someone says, wow, it's an hour already. Yes, yes, it's an hour already. My big brother is here. Pastor Matthew is saying, haven't done all you know how to do and it's not working, please seek professional help. That is it. That is it. Joy Nafisa, yes, it's always wholesome and you are always here. I greet you specially. And then the second joy, these two joys are in the couples conclave, so I know them. Joy and joy. Say, I learned a lot as always. Thank you, sir. And for those of you who are thinking couples conclave, oh, where can we join? We've closed registration. You join 2027. We made a lot. We had been talking about it, and I'm sure you heard about it. But something didn't push you to register. Registration has closed. Okay, so but you can start registering for 2027. Don't miss that one again. Okay, yes, yes, love listening. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm looking for the questions. Any questions yet? So while we're waiting for the questions, please, like I said, this course, don't miss it for anything. I don't care where you are. I don't care how you are. Don't miss it for anything. And that's why we have put it at this early bird fee so that you won't complain and say, oh, it's about the money to register. 12,000 naira is a ridiculously ridiculous rate. So please register now. And note that once we enter 1st of February, the price changes. So please don't come and say, oh, I wanted to. No, just register today. As we are finishing this class now, just register today. Please, that will help you. Okay, so I don't see any questions. I believe that everything that I have taught has really sunk in. This is where we call it a day. And we'll meet again next Friday, same time, 11 a.m. in the morning. We'll be talking about marriage. Remember, you can still share this link with everybody because the link will still give you access to the replay. And if you've not yet subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to this YouTube channel right now. We have hundreds of videos on marriage that you can actually watch. Okay, subscribe and it will really, really help you. Thank you very much. I played that beautiful video for you again. Many of you said you liked it, right? So I'm going to play that beautiful video for you again, and you can watch it as we end today. God bless you, and do have a lovely day.
That day you find each other is like no other in life. It brings up butterflies in the belly and you just know you have found your true love. Hello, pretty one. Will you marry me? Yes. I will. And so the altar calls and they answer. The lovebirds all dressed up in black and white, friends coming together in celebration of their love. The minister joins them and crosses them over. And the new family is happily born. Tears of joy and laughter. The home is joyful. Sparks of life everywhere as the couple begin to learn each other. It's a waterfall of dreams coming true. Everyone is full of life. But soon enough, the issues of life choke that beautiful dream. Everyone gets busy. The children come back to back. And the spouses forget their first love. What was once bubbling becomes a stiff bowl of eba. But hope is not lost. Fire can always be reignited, and it surely was. Where there's knowledge, there's light. And the light can transform marriages into an even more beautiful and joyous life. And life springs up again. It's like they just found each other anew. The laughter is back, and so is the joy. A new day has come. How much light do you have in your marriage? How much light have you received on your journey in the same marriage? Register for the course, Closing Up Emotional Distance in Marriage, and learn what you need to do to ensure that the emotional intimacy in your marriage grows and blossoms.
My name is Kunle Ologe, marriage counselor and founder of the Marriage Seal Academy. I will be facilitating this course. See you there.